So 4 years in jail for 2 of the teenage boys. Are you relieved by that?
There's a certain amount of relief. There's also a certain amount of it's not enough. But then as a mother, it could never be enough.
How about you? Do you feel relief and those kind of mixed feelings?
Mixed feelings, absolutely, has already been said. I don't feel that any sentence would ever be long enough for this heinous crime. And the Lady Chief Justice did right and did what she's delivered today.
I mean, essentially your daughter's living with a life sentence.
And also, we don't know the current moment exactly how long they're going to be detained for. Nobody's quite clarified how or done the mathematical calculations yet. It's to let us know how long that's going to be. So that's something we're waiting to find out. But she did mention it would be half. They wouldn't serve more than half of it, and some of which they've already done by being remanded in the first place.
Charlotte, you're representing the family. How do you think the original judge got it so wrong?
Well, I thought that the comments that the judge made, His Honour Judge Rowland, were very much out of touch with modern day society. I mean, to suggest and to even state that the boys should not be criminalised unnecessarily for heinous acts of rape and videoing rape is so incredibly wrong. And so I welcome the decision of the Court of Appeal to ensure that 2 boys who had originally walked free will now be serving time in detention, in other words, prison, for their actions. And I think that sends out a strong message to society that rape, even perpetrated by children, will not be tolerated.
What do you think's gone wrong with the judiciary in this case? Why do you think they got it wrong?
I think that the sentencing guidelines perhaps need to be reviewed and perhaps made to be more slightly a way that can be understood by the judge to understand the difference between a child and an adult a lot better.
So the sentencing guidelines for children who commit rape?
Yes, I think they need to be reviewed.
But is there something about the judiciary that has led to this error in the first place, do you think? What's your personal view on that?
I'm not sure what led for this error to have happened, but I just know that there was no need for us to go through coming to the Court of Appeal. There's no need for any survivor to have gone through that. You know, the trial should end when the trial ends, when the sentencing is done. That should be enough. You shouldn't have to then go through the trauma again and re-traumatise yourself.
What do you think about the judicial system that got this wrong?
There's a distinct lack of judicial accountability. That's a very, very dangerous scenario to be in. Dangerous in the way that if there's no accountability, what does it matter what I pass if I'm a judge?
Although I guess the fact that the Court of Appeal has intervened suggests they have been held, the original judge has been held to account. But I wonder what you thought went wrong initially.
Initially, I think perhaps a lack of training, because we're seeing an increase, obviously, in child rape cases, but it's not a common case to make it to court because, as we're all quite aware, not all cases get to the court stage. So perhaps they're not doing as many to have that experience, to know what the right thing is to do.
And, you know, Giselle Palaco came to the studio and said that she felt that it was partly because of a male-dominated judiciary. What was your experience of that, and what do you think about that?
Yeah, I do agree with her. I really do. It is very much, it's a draconian boys' club would be the word I'd have to use. And the archaic sentencing guidelines all need to be reviewed, especially with children.
Do you concur with that?
I do, I agree. I think that there are real problems within the judiciary when it comes to addressing the epidemic of violence against women and girls, and the fact that the judge himself couldn't even bring himself to say the word rape when speaking directly to the offenders in court, and instead referred to it as the things that you have done, sanitises and undermines the gravity of reprehensible actions of rape. If you are old enough to rape, you are old enough to hear the word rape and be held accountable for your actions.
Do you think there should be sanctions for the original judge, Judge Rowland?
I think that judges who make errors, such as what we've heard of His Honour Judge Rowland, should be held accountable, and overturning his decision in respect of an appeal is the least that can be done. One may question whether His Honour Judge Rowland should in fact be subject to broader sanctions in terms of ensuring he is trained, and even whether there may be a finding of misconduct. I don't know, and that's something that I'll be working with the family as to whether they wish to make a complaint in due course.
It's a horrendous tragedy that's afflicted your family. How are you coping now, and how's your daughter coping?
Jasmine is not doing well, but she will, I think. I think today will be a landmark change for her, that she can now finally understand that standing up and saying something has got her somewhere, because when the trial ended and she heard what the sentences were, she thought, well, what was the point? Why did I even bother going through 18 months of pain, going through everything, if there was going to be no punishment, essentially?
So how did she respond when you told her what had happened today?
Relieved there was some change. I think the most relevant thing is there's a lifetime restraining order. Now, that was the biggest change in her mind, I think.
Are you confident that she'll lead a full life now, that she'll go on to live happily?
I don't think today's outcome will 100% fix and redeem the damage that has been done to Jasmine's life. I don't think she'll ever be 100% confident, which is a shame. She's a bright girl and she still, thankfully, has the rest of her life ahead of her. But I have a distinct feeling it will be a life that will always have a taint on.
It's a really difficult question, but when you saw 3 teenage boys in the back row of the courtroom in Southampton today, do you have any faith that they can redeem themselves, what are their lives going to be like now?
I think they've been given the best opportunity to do that. And as a mother, I want every child to have an opportunity to have a future. I wouldn't wish anybody's child ill. I would like them to redeem themselves. I'd like them to be rehabilitated.
It's an incredibly brave thing to say when you think what's happened to your daughter.
But I think everybody deserves the opportunity to rehabilitate themselves.
And, you know, there's a review going on, the Justice Secretary considering raising the age of criminal responsibility from 10 to 14. What do you think about that?
Completely wrong. I also have a 12-year-old and she knows the difference between right and wrong. She's known right and wrong since she was 3 or 4, perhaps slightly younger. I don't think from 10 to 14. I think that's madness.
What do you think about that, Charlotte?
I don't agree with increasing the age of criminal responsibility to 14. I think that this case, and there are many other cases as well, that show what some children are capable of doing. And when it comes to committing, I think, sexual violence, particularly on other children or even adults, I do think they should be held accountable, and that does mean criminal responsibility. And so absolving them of such responsibility, I think, would be wrong.
We've talked about Giselle Pellico coming and talking about what happened to your daughter. What did it mean to you that there was this national outcry at the original sentence and that Giselle Pellico herself spoke so powerfully about it?
That's a really interesting question. I think that leaving the courtroom, we kind of felt lost and as if we were alone. And then having so many voices around us and familiar names as well, speaking up, we just thought, okay, actually, it's not just me thinking this is wrong. Everybody agrees with me. And that was actually really reassuring. So we're really grateful for everybody who's spoken up for us and sort of given us the confidence to carry on and given us the confidence to go, okay, we can appeal this, we can fight this, which I think that perhaps if nobody had, it would have been a lot harder without the knowledge that the public were behind us.
And she also said that parents needed to take more responsibility, parents of boys. What did you think about that? I mean, what would you have done if that had been your boy do something like that?
If it was my son, it's difficult. I don't think I'd say here what I would do, but he certainly wouldn't be doing it again. And accountability does start with the parents. It's sadly, we live in a world where not every child has been brought up the same.
Charlotte, there are judicial reforms being proposed that would include giving judges the powers to jail parents if they fail to stop children repeatedly breaking the law. Do you think there would be public support for that?
I do. I think there'd be public support for that. I mean, I think primary socialisation starts at home and arguably ends at home as well. And so what are boys being taught at home, or what are they being failed, in fact, to have been taught by their parents such that they feel they can commit rape with impunity and get away with it? I think one of the shocking things that we heard in court yesterday was by one of the defence barristers who said that a boy, an offender of rape, had been made a pariah in the community, almost as if we should feel sorry for him or feel some sort of sympathy. And I think it's important to remember, as Giselle Pellico said, shame must change sides. My heart does not bleed for him. He chose to rape Jasmine and another girl. And the suggestion that in some way he's been held accountable already because he's been made to feel a pariah, I think, is totally misplaced.
Do you think shame is changing sides now?
I think it needs to.
You don't think it has yet?
I think it will slowly change, but a systemic change like that takes time. It takes time to change, and things like this will change it, but it will take time.
You're shaking your head. You don't think shame has changed?
No, absolutely not. Today hasn't changed. I don't think there's any sign of it changing. But today has to be day one of that new direction. As a nation, as a planet, we don't have any other choice.